Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into an absolutely fascinating dilemma from ancient texts all about the dangerous, psychological trap of just getting a little too comfortable. We're going to look at a really powerful moment in the Mahabharata, where our heroes, the Pandava brothers, are forced to choose between ultimate, heavenly comfort and their harsh, earthly duty. So let's just jump right into this central question that faced the brothers, because it perfectly captures the tension between serene comfort and hard duty. Imagine this. You've been entirely stripped of your kingdom, you're forced to wander in exile, and then, suddenly, you stumble into absolute paradise. I mean, you have literally everything you could ever want. Do you stay in that bubble of comfort? Or do you pack it up and leave it all behind to fight for what is rightfully yours? It's a super profound question about human nature, and the text gives us a literal masterclass in how to navigate it.
All right, part 1, a paradise in exile.
The text sets the scene by describing the great hero Arjuna returning to join his brothers. And this is key, they aren't exactly roughing it out in the wilderness right now. They're actually residing in the lush, romantic pleasure grounds of the Lord of Treasures, Kubera. The text paints this incredible picture of peerless pleasure grounds, filled with all these diverse trees, where Arjuna ranges at large, bow in hand. Basically, through the grace of this king of wealth, they've found the ultimate sanctuary. In fact, they're so well taken care of that they completely stop caring about the prosperity of men. They're just entirely insulated from all the struggles of the outside world. Now, what's really wild here is the sheer amount of time they end up spending there. 4 years. 4 luxurious, completely uninterrupted years. When you're in a state of absolute comfort, entirely free from the everyday friction of your struggles, time behaves really differently. And for the Pandavas, this comfort was rapidly becoming a very serious trap. The text actually notes that because their residence was just so peaceful and heavenly, they spent 4 years there, even like a single night. Think about that for a second. A massive chunk of their lives just vanished, passing by in the blink of an eye. The comfort of the mountain woods and Kubera's gardens was so intoxicating that it essentially just put their entire mission to sleep. To really put that into perspective, let's zoom out and look at the timeline. You suddenly realize the true gravity of this single night. They had already spent 6 years in the forest before finding this paradise. You add these 4 blissful years, and a full decade of their exile has smoothly passed without any progress toward their ultimate goal of reclaiming their kingdom. 10 years. The clock is ticking right toward the crucial 11th and 12th years of their exile, and they are essentially just frozen in paradise. Which brings us to part 2, the wake-up call. Every group needs that one person who is willing to rock the boat and point out the hard truth, right? Well, here, that person is Bhima, the vehement son of the wind god. Bhima, alongside Arjuna and the heroic twins, earnestly goes up to King Yudhishthira. Now, the text notes he speaks beneficial and pleasant words, but don't be fooled, the underlying message is a massive reality check. Bhima reminds the king that they haven't forsaken the forest to slay their wicked enemies Suyodhana just yet. He points out, hey, we are about to enter our 11th year of exile, and it's time to prepare for the final year of non-discovery so we can actually wreak our revenge. So, the absolute crux of Bhima's argument perfectly contrasts the temptation to just stay in heaven against the brutal duty of descending to earth. Bhima lays it out plain and simple. Yes, they deserve happiness, and yes, this place is literally like heaven. But if they stay, they are totally abandoning their honor. They absolutely must descend unto the earth to punish their foes, root out the meanest of men, and get their kingdom back. He's basically telling Yudhishthira, look, heavenly comfort is a distraction from our earthly purpose. Bhima's urgent warning provides what is probably the most profound psychological insight in this entire section. He says, if we dwell in this region like unto heaven itself, we shall forget our sorrows. He recognizes that their sorrow, that deep anger over how they were wronged, is the exact fuel they need to reclaim their kingdom. If they let all this comfort erase their pain, they lose their drive. He warns Yudhishthira that if this happens, his fame will vanish from the worlds like unto a fragrant flower. It's such a beautiful yet terrifying warning, isn't it? Comfort can literally make you irrelevant. He reminds the king that all this wealth from Kubera, they can get that later. But right now, they have to turn their minds to destruction and punishment. And just to prove they are completely ready for the fight and shouldn't just be hiding out in the mountains, Bhima outlines their incredibly powerful allies. He reminds the king of their overwhelming, combined strength. He lists mighty allies like Krishna, known as Suparna, and Satyaki, the grandson of Sini, warriors who are so fierce they don't even experience pain when fighting gods. He reminds Yudhishthira that not even the wielder of the thunderbolt himself could stand against their combined prowess. With Arjuna peerless in strength, Bhima himself, the heroic twins, and their formidable friends, they have a coalition of sheer power ready to secure wealth and prosperity for the king. Bhima is basically saying, we have the tools, we have the team, let's stop enjoying the gardens and go do the hard work. And that brings us to part 3, return to the path. Faced with all this, Yudhishthira, the magnanimous king, just listens to his brothers. He doesn't argue, he doesn't try to justify staying in the pleasure grounds. He silently, completely understands the intention of his brothers and just accepts the truth. He physically goes around Kubera's abode, respectfully bidding adieu to the palaces, the lakes, the rivers, and all the Rakshasa guardians who had hosted them. It's a really powerful moment of deliberate detachment. He is willingly walking away from a life of perfect ease. Right before they descend, Yudhishthira looks back at the mountain by which they came, and he makes this incredibly profound emotional vow. He says, "O foremost of mountains, may I, together with my friends, after having finished my task, and slain my foes, and regained my kingdom, see thee again, carrying on austerities with subdued soul." This is so crucial. Notice how he isn't rejecting peace or comfort entirely. He is prioritizing. He's promising to return to his peaceful austerities only after his violent duty is completely fulfilled. It's a contract with himself. Duty first, paradise later. The actual departure itself is this fascinating logistical and emotional journey. As they physically transition out of paradise and get back onto the earthly road, they aren't going at it alone. The great sage Lomasa advises them with a cheerful heart, even as a father doth his son, before he heads off to the sacred abode of heaven. Then, Ghatotkacha and his followers step in to literally carry the heroes over the treacherous mountain cascades. And finally, advised by Arshtishena, the brothers journey onward, passing by romantic tirthas, which are sacred pilgrimage sites, hermitages, and mighty lakes. They are finally back on the move. That 4-year night is over, and the path to reclaiming their destiny has officially resumed. To wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a final thought about human nature, directly inspired by the Pandavas' choice here. Comfort is an incredibly powerful magnet. It can make 4 whole years feel like a single night, and it can make you completely forget the sorrows and the fire that drive you toward your true purpose. Bhima's warning rings just as true today. If we dwell in our own personal heavens, our potential might just vanish like a fragrant flower. So I have to ask you, when was the last time you had to voluntarily abandon a comfortable situation, your own temporary paradise, in order to descend back to earth and fight for your long-term goals? It's a really tough choice to make, but as the Mahabharata shows us, it's very often the only path to true greatness. Thanks so much for exploring this incredible text with me.